Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's EGTV, and we're back again with EGTV NBA Talks. You know what it is. We haven't had an NBA talk in a while, man. Last time we had the conversation uh, with me and you, we were talking about the the trades and everything that could happen before the trade deadline. Trade deadline's still not here yet. The actual trade deadline should be in a couple weeks' time, I think.
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks. It's funny. I haven't been plugged into the trade deadline because I'm kind of scared of it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of scared of it. I, we might be seeing the last of Lowry, so I've been kind of under the radar, not thinking about it. And then there's a few things that are scaring me about the trade deadline. The Drummond rumors, a few things. I kind of just want to pass.
Nah, I'll tell you this: the Drummond rumors. I don't think Drummond's coming to Toronto. I think that has been passed. When we didn't give them JV for Drummond, that's when I knew he was never going to come to Toronto. I think Masai values defense more than he values just a person who can give you 20 rebounds.
I agree with that, but that's why I think the reason why I'm scared of it, because I completely agree with you. But the reason I'm scared of it is I think we desperately need some rebounding too, and we need a big man in there. And if I'm Masai and I can get Drummond, he went for peanuts. Remember, it was I can't remember what he was a second rounder and something else. If I can get Drummond for a second rounder on the Raptors, just see how it works, because Nick Nurse is one of the best coaches in the league when it comes to coaching defense. Why would I not do that? Right. Okay. So it could be a test thing. I wouldn't want, I personally completely agree with you, though. He does not play defense. He's a complete, he's a fraud on the defensive end. He just doesn't play it.
He's just a big man who grabs boards and puts up double doubles. He's not. Okay, let's turn into Skip Bayless for a second. Skip Bayless always says, "What's his win shares?" I'm telling you, his win shares are trash. There's a reason why he was on Detroit, Cleveland, and he's not on a championship contender. And you don't hear about any major contender saying this is the free agency for Drummond.
100%, and it's like a good example is, remember Kevin Love on the Timberwolves?
Yeah,
when he was bagging bare rebounds. I'm talking 16, 17, 18 rebounds a game. He was averaging 14 or something. He was leading the league. But if you ever watch him play, it's because the man wasn't playing defense. He'd look at his player, the ball would be going up, and instead of, bodying, because back then they played in the post, he would turn and box out. So by doing that, he was always the first to get to the board because he was such a big guy. So his rebound numbers were inflated because, the truth be told, he wasn't stopping anybody. And if you look at the Timberwolves team, they weren't good because their focal point couldn't play defense. So people just attacked Kevin Love, and they're like, if I miss, whatever, he gets the rebound. But I have a higher percentage of getting the shot when nobody's playing defense, right? So there's a lot of players like that people don't notice.
Yeah, facts. A lot of people don't notice those guys. Now let's move on. On today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about the Toronto Raptors.
Yes, sir.
Are they back? I want to hear from you guys. Are they back? And yes, we are two Toronto Raptors fans on the panel, so of course we're going to be a little bit biased. Now, the next thing is, can the Brooklyn Nets win the East, or are they just trash? Which one is it? So first, are we going to go to the Raptors first, or are we going to
Let's go Raps. Let's jump right into our team. Let's talk about our team for a bit.
Let me say something about the Raptors. First of all, Fred VanVleet, we're guard heavy. If you don't know the Toronto Raptors, we're guard heavy. We don't have big men. Anything that has to do with boxing out your man and getting rebounds and blocking shots, that's Chris Boucher. That's it.
that thin dude out there, or realistically, or Kyle Lowry or Fred VanVleet. Our two 5'11". These guys are 5'11", and they box out better than half the big men on our team when it comes to Kyle Lowry. I don't want anybody, no chat from anybody when they say Kyle Lowry or Fred VanVleet 6'1". They are not. Those guys are 5'11", maybe 6 foot tops. The NBA has inflated their height, and they do the best boxing out on the team. And Fred VanVleet, Mr. Bet on Yourself, already a steal in my opinion. He should be a max player based on how he's playing. You drop a 54 spot. He's
career high, franchise record high. What?
On 70%
records. Also, he said
no, he didn't.
Nope. Oh, no, he got 11.
He missed it. He got 11. Remember, Donyell Marshall holds that for 12. And that hurt me because I jinxed it. I said to my boys, I'm like, we can't have Donyell Marshall be the guy. I hope it's Fred tonight who takes it. And my boys said, after you said that, he didn't score another 3. And I'm like, shit, that's my bad. I was like, that's my bad. But Fred VanVleet, what a dude. I mean, but let's talk. Are we back? I think we're back. I never thought we left.
We're back. Let me tell you why we're back. One, we just destroyed Washington. 100 and let me just show you what the score was. We destroyed these guys today. Yes, Washington's terrible,
Trash.
but the way we're playing, bro. The way we're playing. Do you see this? The way we're playing. The way these guys were just dominating. You got guys scoring
Norm Powell.
137 points. Norman Powell, 28
We have a conversation
points.
about Norm Powell.
Boom. The crazy thing about me about this is I knew Bembry. He was on the Atlanta Hawks, was he not?
Yeah. He was on the Hawks.
He was good on the Atlanta Hawks.
He was.
Why is it taking this long for him to get PT?
So the thing is, he wasn't. So this is the thing. He's a good role player, right? And there's certain guys like that the league has kind of passed by, where they were like athletic wings. It's just because there's so many good wings in the league that if you're like an average wing, you get faded out when you're on a team with really good wings. And most teams, like you look at the Boston Celtics, you look at even Giannis plays out on the wing. I could go through almost every team and name some quality wings. Bembry's a step below. The Raptors, we have this thing of we're like a redemption squad, right? Yeah. We've had Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. We've had all these random,
Corey Joseph.
We've had all these kind of guys who you thought their careers were done. They land on the Raptors. We give them some PT. They turn out to be decent. Stanley Johnson's a good example this year. Our development is ridiculous, right? Even Norm Powell is somebody who
didn't work out for Alex Len, though.
I would no. I would trade Norm Powell. And sorry, I'm just going to address one of the comments. Do you think we need a big to make the playoffs? I don't know if you're talking about Miami or us. The Raptors.
Us, I think.
The Raptors. Yeah, we're going to make the playoffs. So there's no conversation about making the playoffs with the Raptors. I'm going to say that from the jump. I don't know about you, Gal. I was never worried.
I was shaking it. Were
you?
I was traumatized by Arsenal, and then I was just expecting the worst for the Raptors because I had a lot of delusional Arsenal Raptors fans that were telling me the same thing that I hear about Arsenal all the time. That don't worry, it's early. Don't worry, these things happen. And when you lose 5 on the bounce, you start thinking, let's just tank. And then you look at yourself and you're like, look at us now. We're 12 and 13.
That's 3 games out of the 4th spot. And it's a weird year. So the thing is, you kind of hit on it with the thought went through my head, let's just tank. But it wasn't because I didn't believe we weren't going to make the playoffs. It's because we're in that weird spot. And Daniel, we're not in transition. We're in that transition phase. And the NBA, one of the worst places to be is in that middle tier where you're not bad enough to get a top pick, but you're not good enough to get past the first round. And that's where I think we're trending to. I do think we'll make it to the second round because our pedigree is too good. OG is the best one-on-one defender in the league right now. Until he went down, he was leading the league in steals. His man-on defense is amazing. He's like a 40% three-point shooter. Then you have Fred VanVleet, who's one of the best defenders again at his position. He has the most deflections. So these are interesting stats I'm going to throw out. Fred VanVleet has the most deflections out of any player in the league. Kyle Lowry still leading in charges taken. And then you have OG leading in steals. I think we're 3rd in defensive rating. Like a team that has that strong a defensive pedigree is never going to miss the playoffs. The problem is,
especially in the East,
in the East right now too. And I'm not even going to hate on the East because the East is continuously getting better. But the problem we have now is we don't have that Kawhi. We don't have that player that can just take the game over, right? And we need that. And we don't have that superstar. We don't have that wing, that Jaylen Brown, that Jason Tatum, the 3 guys on the Nets who we'll talk about later. The Giannis, who actually isn't a game changer. He's not, like, in the sense of I love Giannis, but it's harder for him. Defensively, yes, but I'm saying on the offensive end, he doesn't. He can't just because his lack of shooting. It's like Ben Simmons, right? They can't just win you the game from the offensive point. And
that's KG without a jump shot.
Exactly, and I would love Giannis. I'm not. There's no slight on Giannis. Giannis is to me the second best player in the league probably at this stage. It's just he needs guys around him who can get that shot off.
Imagine KG in this modern day era, because I think. As much as we make the comparison to him and Shaq, in the sense Shaq was a big man dominant in the paint, Giannis is dominant in the paint, but he's more of a KG. That people don't speak about him. But hey, I'm getting too far off track. With the Raptors, I think people were quick to write us off because of the Knicks and people that like the story of the Knicks overtaking the Raptors. And you can't have too many teams from the same division being in the final thing because Boston's supposed to be good. Nets are supposed to be good.
Yep.
Sixers are supposed to be good. And people are like, oh, the Knicks are back. They're going to take the Raptors spot. Back to the basement, Raptors. Back to irrelevant franchise. No, doesn't
There
work
may
like
be
that.
5 teams from the Atlantic, though. That's crazy.
It's not going to happen. It's not possible. In my opinion, we're gonna take away from each other so much that it's going to be Sixers might drop a game here. Nets are going to drop a game here. And you're going to just find that the Knicks slowly chip away and go back to the bottom.
They're going to be the team that can't beat the rest of the division because that division, that's as much as we say the East is bad, the Atlantic Division is the best division in basketball. I don't care what anybody says. It's the best division in basketball. There's no, like, for years, when you take Boston, you take the Nets team, you take the 76ers, you take the Raptors, like, 3 of the teams.
It used to be bad, though. When the Sixers were tanking.
Used to be trash.
When the Sixers were tanking and Boston were in a rebuild, it was terrible. And we were the best. So that was when we were feasting. We had, I think we swept them all almost.
Everybody. You're right. I think we may have lost one game. We swept the entire division because I used to love playing Argentina. Yo, those were the games I always had the tickets to go. I was always like, yo, let me go have a good time. Let me get some beer in me.
Were the cheapest tickets. Let's be honest.
They were. I agree. Tickets. They were cheap, and I could go get some drink in me, have a good time, and not worry about losing the game. You know, you bring the girl with you. You just like you could chat, not be like, I'm just here.
It was always the Atlantic Division games and the Indiana Pacers. Those were the cheapest games.
It's because of just the TV rights, right? But back to the squad we got. You look at it's always next man down with. You think
we're talking about the Raptors. We're talking about the Raptors.
Yeah, honestly, when you look at the squad we have, you look at the fact that Norm Powell stepped right up as soon as OG went down, right? Baines has now started to get at the flow back. I wouldn't be surprised if the Raptors finish 4th in the East, personally. I think the 76ers are going to finish first. 4th, yeah. Where
are you getting this confidence from?
7 years of greatness, bro. Like we've been. See, this is the thing, dog. See, this is the thing. I get it. You got that whole Arsenal feeling on you. It's hard for you to be confident, dog. We've been a top 3 team in the East for 7 years. That doesn't just go away when you lose one player. If Kyle Lowry gets traded, then sure, we might be in trouble. But like Kyle Lowry's a 6-time All-Star. He's led us multiple times. Dog, like I truly believe we're gonna finish 4th in the division because we'll talk about it later, but I think 76ers are gonna clamp it down. Boston, New Jersey, and then I think the Raptors. The Heat are too far back. They'll still make the playoffs, but they're too far back, in my opinion.
Now, the reason why I think the Raptors are back is because we have tweaked the lineup in a way where our best players are always on the our closing players are Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, Siakam, OG, and Chris Boucher.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are carrying the mantle. And you know what? The crazy thing is, when OG doesn't play, guess who steps up? Norman Powell.
Plays like a monster. Absolute monster.
I can't believe this guy was on the waiver wire in my fantasy league.
I picked him up in one league. It was a dynasty league, and it's like I got him for another 2 years on like $1 million contract. It's amazing. But I get why he was on the waiver wire because he just scored for a bit and nobody had faith. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say this out loud because I've said this. I want us to trade Norm Powell. And I've wanted to. And the only reason I do is because he has so much value at his contract. If he decides to opt in at 11 mil, it does limit what we can do. And the Raptors need an upgrade on Norm Powell. As great as he's been for us, we need a better player. And I think Slen said something in there that's really important to notice about this year, why this year's kind of a write-off. We don't have a single home game. We are not playing at home. The Toronto Raptors are playing in Tampa Bay. We saw it at the start, and we saw the problem with that. They were letting in fans from other teams, dude. And those fans were loud. They stopped letting fans in because they're like, oh, COVID. But the truth is they stopped letting fans in because we're so screwed. Like we're sitting there listening to other teams cheer against us. It's brutal. But for me, Norm Powell's been great, but I want to see him traded. He's the one player I'd love to see traded. Maybe you get some.
Stop bringing fans in because of that, really? Because they were cheering against us?
I truly believe there was a little bit of that. I think the COVID restrictions came down, but I truly believe it got to a point where we're ready, not home. Right? We're ready, not home. The guys don't get to go home to their beds. They don't get to go home to their wives, or they do. I guess they're probably in Tampa, but they don't get to go home to their comfort zones, their home cooked foods. They're in hotels, Airbnbs. They're not at home. That makes a difference, man. These other teams they're all playing at home. The only thing that changes for them is they don't have their fans, and some teams do. So I think I think if we persevere this season, that's going to be great.
Okay, so just to segue into our next topic, because we got 15 minutes in, where do you think the Raptors are going to finish? And then we'll transfer over.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Raptors are going to finish. I think we're going to finish maybe fifth or sixth. I don't think we're going to crack the top 4 teams in the East.
I think
we just have
fourth.
Too much catch up right now. I know we're close record wise. We're sixth right now. But I think we're going to stay in amongst here because I just feel like the Sixers are better than us. The Bucks are better than us. The Nets are going to be better than us, even though I just think they're going to be better than us based on the fact that they have so many guys that can win them a game. And we've seen that we struggle in the playoffs when it comes. We're not in the playoffs. Brooklyn. So Brooklyn, Bucks, Sixers, Nets. Pacers and Celtics. Those 5 are going to be ahead of us.
So I agree with you on one thing because I forgot about the Bucks. I did. That's my bad. I forgot about the Bucks. The Bucks aren't going to finish out of the top 4. The Nets have too much firepower to finish out of the top 4, and Boston has too much. So we'll finish 5th. That's like I just took a look. Yeah, pull it up. We'll finish 5th.
What about the Pacers?
We're better than the Pacers.
Have Sabonis.
I want to hear nothing. We're better than the Pacers. Sabonis is good, but
the Pacers are sick.
We're better than the Pacers. I get it. I hear what you're saying. Sabonis is a great player. You're right.
They have matchup.
Malcolm Brogdon's decent, but Fred VanVleet's levels above Malcolm Brogdon.
It's easier to guard us because Pascal Siakam is more predictable than Sabonis.
I know you don't like Siakam, but Siakam's been involved.
I like Siakam.
I know you got the problem with the spin.
I watched him for the 905s. I went to a 905 game.
Okay.
Like I watched this guy before he made it to the Raptors. I like Pascal. Don't get me wrong.
Fair enough. All right. So this is why I think we're better than the Pacers on a few fronts. Turner's great, and Turner's the big X factor there, right? I agree with that.
He's the best defensive player in the league.
Our perimeter play is so much better. And our power
blasphemous. Sorry.
And our power
he's
forward
not the best defender in the league.
No. He's the best shot blocker right now. He's the best shot blocker. He is. But we have the best steals, dude. Like I said, I earlier I told you, like when you have a Van Vliet and you have Lowry. So if we lose Lowry, then I will agree with you. We will not finish in the top 5. But if we keep Lowry, we will finish top 5. And it's close. It's not like I'm saying there's a mountain or gap between us and the Pacers. What I'm saying is, truth be told, we are just history, everything. We're just a better team. Them getting Nate Bjorgen, that was a big grab. Finally, a team stepped up and didn't go back and get a retread coach, and they went and took a coach from a team that has a good system. And that's why the Pacers are decent this year. That's the only reason, in my opinion, that they're where they're at. And I think Nate's going to turn them into a much better team. You're seeing Turner is a monster this year because Nate's all about defense, right? And I like that's where I'm going to say I think the Pacers will finish below us, and then I do think the Nets will finish in 3rd because they have too much catch up to do. But to answer, I'll let you segue into the Nets. I'm not a big believer, to be honest. It's just not.
Okay, so let's move over. Let's move over to the Brooklyn Nets, ladies and gentlemen. The Brooklyn Nets, the team that has the 3-headed monster of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. With rounding out the team with a bunch of guys, they recently just signed Noah Vonleh, right? They now have DeAndre Jordan, Noah Vonleh, obviously Jeff Green, the guy in the picture, Joe Harris, and a couple more guys sprinkled around. Spencer
Dinwiddie.
Fan of Joe. I think Spencer Dinwiddie's out for the rest of the season.
He's done.
But Let's get into the Brooklyn Nets. They're currently 14-12 on a 3-game losing streak. That record doesn't say it at all. They're on a 3-game losing streak. Since they've gotten James Harden, they are not the worst defense in the league, but they're the worst defense in history. Right? Literally.
Good point, yeah.
They have the statistical worst defense in NBA history since they've signed James Harden. It just goes to show you having so much offensive power doesn't mean anything. In my opinion, if they can find a way to get a Robert Covington, boom, their team is a big solution is made right there.
They need a McGee too or something. So this is the problem with what the Nets did. Listen, I get it. Playoffs is all they care about. That's all that matters. I understand that. I hear it. But you need some defensive cohesiveness. You need something. DeAndre Jordan is too old. He is too old. And in my opinion, letting Allen go in that deal, I get it. You couldn't keep him. Like he was going to get like somebody was going to offer him near max. And you decided to trade Jared Allen, and Jared Allen was playing some of the best basketball we've seen. And if they didn't trade Jared Allen, they're the favorites to win the league. Now you're right. They're going to get guys like Vonleh. Is Vonleh much better than Green? I'm not so sure.
He's better.
Okay, we'll see. Not so sure. I'm not saying I'm not so sure is what I'm saying. Then you have Harden, who I like as like a playmaker, and I've been watching their games, and I like what he's doing. He has, at very least, cut down on the isolation, been part of the team. The bigger problem that the Nets have is they have three guys who could miss games at any time. We saw it with the Clippers. Everybody was talking about the Clippers. Everybody was saying the Clippers are going to win. They're going to walk to the finals. If you don't have the chemistry and the proper mix of players, it's not that easy. It's not that the teams are figuring out like, cool, you guys can score, but we can score on you at any time. And we have better defensive players. So we can lock up some of your fringe players. I love Joe Harris. Don't get me wrong. But Joe Harris can't defend. Right? Like, I think the team they had before was more likely to win a championship with just Durant and Kyrie than when they swung for, what's his name, for Harden. They didn't need to do it. Where's Lowry supposed to be traded?
I don't think he's leaving. Let's just leave it.
His house is up for sale. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yep. So this is the thing. My boy shared it with me, and I was like, nah, it's got to be one of those bullshit reports, right? I then went back and watched the ESPN video they did. It was like they went to his house, and you can see him walk out of his house. I then looked up the listing that was posted in one of the Facebook groups, because Facebook groups are all over this shit. And his house in North York, man's rich as fuck. His house, the house that was in that video, is up for sale. So if that house is up for sale, that means there's talks going on. If Lowry's going to leave, I'm praying that he goes to the Sixers because I love Lowry and he gets to go back home, but because I think the Sixers would have the best package for us. I don't want to see him go to the Clippers. That's one of the rumored spots, and there's also rumors about him going to Miami. My take
what
on
are Miami going to offer us besides Tyler Hero?
That's the thing. They would offer us a bunch of picks. So at this point, Miami would be. So any team that's coming for Lowry would be offering Miami would offer us more picks. What I would love to see, and you're gonna laugh at this. This is me being a delusional Raptors fan right here. This is the package I want. You send Lowry to the 76ers for Ben Simmons, but you send a bunch of picks. You send 3 first rounds, 2 swaps. You get it done. You get it done straight up with a bunch of
Simmons for Lowry. I don't think they would ever do that.
But you would send multiple picks. Because look at the 76ers. Look at the 76ers. Look at the situation they're in. You got to hear me out here.
We would have to give up Norman. We would have to give up.
I'm happy to give up Norm in that deal. Actually, I'm happy to give up Norm. But you can't, because it wouldn't. I don't think the money would work. They'd have to send us back somebody like Tybal or something.
Tybal for $4 million. What do you mean?
Yeah, but with the 125% rule, it might work out, because we still have a little bit of space, I think. But the reason I say this is because the 76ers have no way of getting better because of Tobias Harris's contract. They're so capped out. They need to swing on some picks. They need to get some young kids in to build around their team. So if you think about it, and I'm saying this with my chest, Kyle Lowry is a better basketball player than Ben Simmons at this point in time. The 76ers currently have Embiid playing like an MVP. He's playing like the MVP. I don't care what any of the haters say. The guy's playing the best player in the league. When you have a big man that dominant, you're in win now mode, you have Tobias Harris, you can't get rid of his contract. You've got Seth Curry, so you got some shooting. If you keep Thybulle, you have a defensive specialist, and you have Tyrese Maxey, who's also a good player. Like, Tyrese Maxey's a good player. So if the Raptors are like, listen, you guys want to add more around Embiid, a guy who's going to really help him. Kyle Lowry is one of the best defenders in the league. He's almost as good at defending it as Ben Simmons, and he's not the same size. That's just facts. That's not even a lie. I'm just talking straight facts here. Like, it would work. So you want to win now. Kyle Lowry would sign a deal for cheaper to stay home. 100%, and he knows he has a better chance of winning a championship there at the moment. Ben Simmons coming to us would develop. Like, he would develop and hopefully become a little bit better with all those younger guys. A Ben Simmons OG Pascal core, like, we're happy. Let them grow together. See what happens. The only way we're ever going to get stars in Toronto, dog, is through trades. It's sad. I hate it. It hurts me, but it's a fact. So if you send them 3 first round picks, that's a lot. Let's keep that on it. Let's keep it a buck, dude. That's a lot. 3 first round picks and maybe 2 swaps for Lowry, and you send me Simmons, I don't think who says no. Which side says no to that deal? In my opinion, it's a big deal.
I think you're giving up too much.
I agree. I agree. I completely agree. I think we're giving up too much. But I think if you do that, you have a chance to keep Norm now because you would bring Ben Simmons in on his contract. You have Norm's bird rights, so you can sign Norm over the cap, and you could do something crazy. You could go trade for Drummond, like a second rounder or whatever, keep his bird rights, and MLSC will spend over
I think I'm changing the title of the video to trade Lowry for Simmons. Like,
yo, if we could pull that deal off, everybody's happy. Let's see what happens in a few years. So far, every star we've ever traded for, other than Kawhi Leonard, has stayed with the Raptors. Why not? You don't need any more first round picks if you have OG, Simmons, Pascal, Boucher. Like, your team's young enough. Let them grow. Grab second rounders. We're the best developmental team in the league. Fred, Boucher, Siakam. We'll find them.
Do you think Ben Simmons would fit? Yeah, he would be the ball. He would be the on-ball player.
Freddie plays off the ball just fine, and we have shooters. Simmons doesn't need to shoot. Siakam can hit the three. OG's a 40% shooter. Freddie, 44.
Where's Brooklyn finishing?
They're fourth.
Simple.
Fourth. They finished fourth because Philly's going to finish first at this pace. They're not slowing down. Milwaukee maybe finish first. Maybe Milwaukee. Philly or Milwaukee finish 1-2.
Yeah, Milwaukee.
And then the Celtics.
So Celtics will take the Nets.
Yeah, they have too much talent, bro. They're too good.
Yeah. What about the Pacers, Raptors? What's the order between them?
I'm telling you, it's going to be, for me, Raptors, Pacers. Okay. I know you have it the other way around.
Who's the final two teams in the East? Is it Hornets, Hawks, Nets, Heat, Cavs, Bulls? Because Orlando, Washington, and Pistons are all out, in my opinion.
I agree. Yep. I go with the Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks.
Miami Heat right now are 10-14. They're struggling.
Yeah, but Jimmy's missed like 20 games with the COVID thing, right? He actually, I think he was one of the guys who had one of the longer COVID layoffs, and he had actual injuries. Jimmy comes back, and that team has too much talent to miss the playoffs. There's too many games. The NBA has too many games.
Okay, hear me out. The Atlanta Hawks have a hierarchy issue. They don't know who's basically it's Trey, and then everyone else thinks they're the second best player on the team. Literally, it's Trey Young.
That's funny. I like that.
Every other player on the team. Think about it. Clint Capella thinks he's the second best. John Collins thinks he's the second best. Even guys like Herter think they're second best player. You got guys on the bench like Gallinari coming off the bench and Bogdanovic coming off the bench. They're like, yo, I'm the best player on the team after him too. So the whole team has a hierarchy issue. That is going to be an issue come throughout the season. There's going to be games where certain guys shouldn't be taking as many shots, but they're taking too many shots. So they're lucky that one of their main guys got injured.
DeAndre Hunter, so he was killing it this year.
He's killing it, but to the detriment of the team. Because the team, they don't know who's best.
It's true. And you brought in Gallo. You see, they're already trying to trade Rondo too. They don't think it worked.
They're like, well, why do they have Rondo? They're like, you know what? We have
Chris
Rondo
Dunn
for
too.
Experience. They're like, we have Rondo for experience to help the team, to motivate us, to push us, the defensive juggernaut, the point guard off the bench to push everything together, make it all work. Guess what? Bogdanovic comes off the bench. Gallinari comes off the bench. You see Rondo. They're like, you know what?
I forgot about they had Bogey too. I forgot. Okay, so you make a good point about the Hawks, and I want to talk about the Hawks a bit.
They have a problem. You know who my solution is?
What's your solution?
The most entertaining team in the Eastern Conference that's not a top team, the Hornets. Lock for the playoffs, in my opinion.
Lock. Okay.
Lock. Let me explain why.
Let me hear it.
They have Trey. Me. They have Trey. They have Graham. They have Lonzo, right? Then they have their main scoring option, triple threat in Gordon Hayward. They have defensive beasts in Bismack. They have a good center. They have a good backup.
Zeller's
center.
Good. Zeller's a starting center.
Right. They also have Miles. They also have Miles. Is it Miles or
Miles? Yeah, it's Miles, not McCall.
Bridges, who's Aaron Gordon without as much skill.
Yes. That's the best comparison. Aaron Gordon without as much skill. Like, I agree. The guy's empty calories, bro. This guy's on the
Literally,
court.
2 blocks,
15
2
points,
steals,
2
nothing else.
boards, maybe a blocker. So that's it.
You know what he
Empty
is? He's a
calories.
2 for 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Everything 2. He'll give you 2 categories in everything. In fantasy, world, he's decent. In real life, nah.
I completely agree with that statement. Oh, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell it to my boys. I like that.
What else?
No, okay. Okay, so I hear you on the Hornet shout, but let me tell you why the Hawks will probably make it, in my opinion. Because at the end of the day, it does matter about the talent you have on your team. And I get it. Nobody really knows who's the second best player. John Collins wants to be that guy. There's beef. You've heard it. You know,
there's time where John Collins get 10 shots.
Well, John Collins called out how they run their offense in one of their I was reading an article, and he called out in a film session how Trey runs the offense, and Trey's like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? You calling me out? And Trey didn't like it. But you got to look at what the Hawks did. They went and got Capella because they don't truly believe in John Collins. That's the truth. That's why they did it. And Capella's balling out. I would say Capella is their second best player because on both ends of the floor, right? But Capella all of a sudden is a low percentage shooter, which is weird. It's very weird, right? He's always been a high percentage shooter. So what I would say, the reason why I put the Hawks above the Hornets is because they have a little bit more experience, right? The Hornets are young. They still have like the PJ Washingtons, Miles Bridges, who haven't really figured out what they are in the NBA. They're good players, but they haven't really locked in what they are. Zeller, who's a good player. LaMelo Ball is going to be a star. And when he becomes a star, he's going to be the head-to-head with Trey, right? I always go, who has the better players in this situation? And even though the Hawks have this whole hierarchy issue that I agree with, like I completely agree with that, they just have better players. Like Bogey, I forgot, was out, and they're still doing well. Gallows missed half the season. They're still doing well. Like these guys are good. You're right. None of them are great. That's the problem. I completely hear you. That's where the hierarchy, because none of them are great, but they're all good. The Hornets, they're all a bit. But I would not be surprised. I don't disagree with your take. I would not be surprised if the Charlotte Hornets land in a playoff spot because LaMelo Ball is playing on a different level. And Gordon Hayward, I've trashed Gordon Hayward, dog. Let me tell you. I've said some bad things about Gordon Hayward in the past, like about how I just believe he's taken every team for money. And this guy has proven that he's a max player. He played so well this year. I can't say anything bad about him. He earned the right to tell Boston, I'm gonna go get paid. So it's a close one. I think that's one for us to watch. We can revisit that in a few weeks. I think it's one for us to watch. Hawks versus, but I think we're both. You think you believe Miami's gonna get there, right? You think the Miami Heat are gonna. I think you agree. Maybe not. No.
Atlanta Hawks and the Miami Heat. What separates them is 2 losses and 1 win. So there's 3 games difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the sense, I'm ridiculous if I say the Miami Heat are out. But at the same time, can you see the Miami Heat? Can you see the Miami Heat not making the playoffs?
No, I can't because Jimmy Butler is that dude. Butler is that dude.
If it's between the Hawks, the Hornets, and the Heat, right now the Hornets are 4 games clear. The Hawks are 3 games clear, right? And the Knicks are 2 games clear. No, 1.5 games clear. So which one are you taking?
Again, it's so between the Hawks, Knicks, and the Hornets.
Yeah,
I'm still going with the Hawks because I go with talent when it's that close, right? Because
so you go Hawks.
I go with talent, and the talent's there.
So
and
between Hornets, Knicks, and Heat. Who finishes bottom out of those 3? Knicks.
The Knicks for sure.
Okay.
The Knicks are punching above their weight. Tom
Cavs
Thibodeau's
are not even in the conversation.
Nah, they showed some impressiveness at the start of the season, but they've fallen back to others.
Okay, so then the final thing for me is, if it comes down to the Heat or Hornets, I have to go with the Heat. But of course, I think the Hornets are better than the Hawks. That's just my take.
That's fair. No, I don't think, like, based on how you broke it down, I hear what you're saying. You think the chemistry with the Hornets gives them a bit of an edge because that's the big issue we're having with the Hawks. If they don't really have chemistry, they don't know their situations.
Yeah,
everybody knows in the Hornets team who's who.
There are a bunch of guys There, you know what it is? It's you're playing 2K association mode with your friends or something, and you decide to trade all your best players for 3 to 4 good pieces, put them all on the same team, think it's gonna work. But this is not the San Antonio Spurs. You can't have that much talent without hierarchy.
You don't have the. Well, you also don't have the coaching, right?
Who's their coach again?
It's Borrego, isn't it?
I don't know his name.
I think it's Scott Borrego. He's not a super well-known coach. Slen has an interesting question there about LaMelo. What's his ceiling?
LaMelo's ceiling is Steph Curry.
No, he can't shoot like Steph.
Yeah, he can.
No, I do. I have to disagree with that one.
Bro, the man dropped 100 points in high school.
I actually think the way I look at it, you're right. I watched the game. I watched the highlights, but it was a lot of layups, bro. Do you know what I think LaMelo's ceiling is? Ben Simmons with a shot. Ben Simmons with a proper jump shot, which is scary. It's not something we've really seen because the way he rebounds the ball, the way he plays defense, like the way he plays defense is something else for the kid his age, and it's because he decided to go and play abroad. So that's the thing. He went and played abroad, and he played with men, so he learned kind of how to properly play the game. So I think, and he's a great creator. So is Ben Simmons, right? So I think his ceiling is Ben Simmons with a jump shot. That's the way I'd look at him. Okay. Curry's the best shooter of all time. I can't put LaMelo and him in the same. Like, Curry's the greatest shooter we've ever seen. Like, we both watch Ray Allen. We both watch Reggie Miller. Like, we're OG basketball fans. Like, Steph Curry's better than those guys. Like, at shooting, it's just like,
you know what? Ray Allen was really good. Really good. He would kill it in this game. But at his best, Ray Allen never took as many shots as Steph in a game from 3. I think the most he took was that game in the NBA Finals where he took like 11.
The game was different. That's the problem. The game was different. If you dropped, okay, so you know how earlier you were saying KG would dominate this league? Chris Bosh unfortunately had that blood clot issue happen right at the onset of when the stretch 4 became a thing. Like a proper thing. He was the first. He did it. Him and Andrea Bargnani would imagine Bargnani right now.
Bargnani, he would freaking destroy it.
He would dominate this league. And I hate to say it, like,
Porzingis is a superstar.
Bargnani would light this league up. So you have like the Chris Bosches. You have the way you look at it, if you dropped Reggie Miller or Ray Allen.
Remember Abdul Rauf?
But he couldn't shoot 3. I mean, see, this thing, we don't know who could or couldn't. But I guess not. But
he was the best 3-point shooter in that era.
But
the Denver Nuggets were the first 8 seed to win a playoff series, and it was because of guys like him.
Okay, I guess I hear what you're saying.
Out of the NBA, we know what happened.
I hear what you're saying. No, I completely hear what you're saying. So, but that's the thing. I don't know the way the guys, and this is the thing. We don't know who could shoot 3s back then because they weren't allowed to. Like Marc Gasol didn't shoot a 3 until like year 5 in the NBA. And he is, you know what I mean? So the game was so different. Like, you know, when people say like footy's changed and shit. No, basketball has really changed in a short period of time.
Imagine Bol in today's game.
Oh, like the old Bol?
Yeah.
Yo, him, Sabonis, older Sabonis. Those dudes, like
MJ would be taking 3s like nothing.
Exactly. MJ can't shoot 3. But he can shoot the 3. The reason why, it was like a faux pas back then. You were supposed to play in the paint. It was a gritty game. You were supposed to get on guys, and that's what the game was about. And now it's
81 points, Kobe.
Yo, I watched that game with my pops.
I fell asleep because I had school the next day.
I was with my dad, and I remember I looked back at my dad, and I'm like, because my dad would normally change the channel when that shit starts happening. I'm like, yo, don't change that. We're watching. I know it hurts. We're watching history. Like, if Donyell Marshall back then could hit 12 threes in a game, like, picture like the Robert Ory's, even that Suns team that kind of started the running gun. The game's changed so much that it's hard to say what Reggie Miller and Allen would have done today because they would have only shot 3s.
Remember Ryan Anderson was one of the best shooters in the league? Like,
yeah, he just was bad.
No, not nowadays. Nowadays he would be Bertans.
Yeah. 100%.
He just be another guy that no one talks about.
That's it. But he was.
Capono. Remember Jason Capono won the 3-point.
Oh yeah.
And we signed him.
In the Raptors, I remember, and that was the same.
Another one who won the 3-point. Remember the guy who won the 3-point, the white guy for the Knicks, Steven something.
Steve Novak.
Steve Novak.
Yo, but those guys, the thing is, those guys were your Joe Harrises of today. They're your Duncan Robinsons of today. So, like, I won't take away from their ability. And yes, the greatest 3-point shooter of all time is Steph Curry. That's not debatable. I think it's funny when you bring up those guys, but those guys exist today, right? You do have Duncan Robinson, who only shoots threes, doesn't play defense. Like Kyle Korver was that first. JJ Redick, like those guys. The reason I had so much respect for Kyle, like there's so many of these. It's funny. Like JJ Redick did a podcast about how he's targeted because he's a white dude. He's like, I'm targeted on defense. They target white guys in the NBA, and I'm like, well, yeah, bro. You're 6'1" and you have a negative wingspan. I don't think it's because you're white. I think it's because people know you have a negative, like, you know how hard it is to have a negative wingspan? That's so rare. Like your wingspan is supposed to be at least your body. His is negative. So that's why you get targeted, JJ.
He gets targeted because he's bad defensive. He's a bad defender.
You don't have the tools. You can't teach tall.
That's like saying Kyrie saying I get targeted because I'm short.
Right? It's like
I've met Kyle Lowry. I'm 5'10". He's shorter than me. He's not 6 foot.
Bruh, I believe you. 100%.
I met TJ Ford. TJ Ford was shorter than me when I was in grade 10.
Damn. Yeah, TJ Ford is a small guy. The only Raptor I met in person was Jonas Valanciunas. And yo, let me tell you, that man's big. Like I felt so small. I shook his hand and his hand just engulfed mine.
You want to hear a funny story?
Hit me.
Remember All-Star Weekend when everyone just before that we played Denver and we were making fun of that guy on Denver because he was making fun of DeMar. Him and DeMar got into a little scuffle. What's his name? The sixth man who shoots a lot of threes.
J.R. Smith?
Not J.R. Smith, from Denver. He's still at Denver right now.
He still plays for Denver. Gary Harris?
No, not Gary Harris. Another guard.
Will Barton.
Remember he got into a fight with DeMar.
Yeah.
In the All-Star rookie sophomore game, I walked down and Will Barton was in the crowd. I seen Will Barton and I'm like, yo, what were you talking about? What were you saying about DeMar? You're calling him soft? Toronto guys, we ain't soft, dog. He's like, yeah, bro, you're cool, man. Give me that. I'm like, oh, get away from me, dog. And then, my boy seen, you remember at that time, the OKC had this guy, light-skinned brother, who played every game. What's his name?
I can only remember like the OKC teams are such a blur to me because they when they change their team, it's such wholesale changes. I always forget who they are. The only other NBA player that I've met, and it was at a club in Toronto, like a bar. It was pretty hilarious.
What year was it? All-Star? 2016?
2016 was our year in the All-Star, I believe. 2016 or 2015. But I ran into I saw Luol Deng out at the club, and I can say it now because he's never gonna watch this, but this guy looks at me and I look at him and I'm like, yo, you're Luol Deng. And he's like, nah, man. And I'm like, well, now I know you're Luol Deng. He's like, what? I'm like, well, you spoke. I'm like, I watch a lot of ball. I know what your voice sounds like. He goes, okay, here's the deal, bro. He's like, here's the deal. I don't want you to know want you to know who I am or to tweet me out or anything because my girl doesn't know I'm in Toronto right now. I'm supposed to be here for like the Giants of Africa, but she doesn't know I'm out partying, so you can't tweet this out. And I'm like, that's cool. You want to have a drink with me, and then we're even. And he's like, yeah. So Luol Deng and I had a drink, and then later on, I'm walking around, we chilling. He sees me at the bar. He's like, yo, okay, what's up? I felt so cool, but it was just like all he wanted was for me to not bait him out to his girl because a lot of those guys come up here. They come up for Caravana. They come hang. Like they love hanging out in Toronto. They just don't want to. Some of them don't want to play here.
You know who it was? It was Andre Roberts.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, light-skinned dude.
So my boy went up to Andre Roberts. I swear to God, Andre Roberts is not tall. I don't know what he's listed as. What is he listed at? He's
probably
listed
6'1".
He's listed as 6'7". The man is not 6'7". He has to be like 6'4". He can't be 6'7".
I agree.
No way he's 6'7", right? Mm-hmm. On top of that, he's a soft dude. You want to know how? My boy went up to him. He's like, yo, you play for OKC? He's like, yeah. Andre Roberts, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, yo, stay up. Do good for us this year. We're Toronto. You guys meet us in the finals.
Yo, the results were interesting tonight.
Like when I say people, when they came to Toronto for All-Star break, I swear people must have told them stay away from Somali guys or something, because whenever we spoke to people, they're shook.
Yeah, but you guys are scary, bro. You guys rolled like I'm not gonna lie. Any clashes I got into, and I'll use it for the British people, the only fights I've ever been in and big scraps where it got like dangerous, and I mean was with Somalians. Like I will not front, dog. I got jumped by like one group of them in the McDonald's in Ottawa, and I didn't even know why. I didn't do anything. And then I got into a big scrap with them outside of my house in fraternity, and we went at it. Like it was like so I get why people stray clear of Somalians, because you guys are such a pack that you're like, yo, that's my man. Them, all right, then I'm like you and respect, cool, but I can get why people are like, yo, because like. Yo, there's times where I thought I was scoring up against one man. Nope. Nope. I thought it was one man. It was 40 more. Like there's dudes, there's times
I got bear stories to tell you. But
yo,
I'll leave some of those for off camera.
We can talk about that off camera. Yo, let's talk about some of the results tonight. Quickly. I know you want to go quick, but let's talk because some of these results are interesting.
1 second. Let me refresh it. Okay, so I got so there's the Memphis Charlotte game. 1 second. I gotta go soon, so we're gonna just look at it quickly. Let me screen share it. Sorry guys, I can't get to all the comments.
And these, I'm gonna just address some of these dudes saying Toronto sucks to live in. Toronto's the best city in the world, bro.
Yeah, you guys are on smoke if you're talking
like
about
Toronto is the best city in the world.
Yo, why is this thing taking forever to load?
It's all good. I can tell you some of the big ones that like is Atlanta dropped. Yeah. 1 second. Atlanta dropped by 1 point. They dropped the game.
1 second. You talk about the game and I'll put it up on the screen. So first we got Memphis Charlotte.
So Memphis destroyed Charlotte I wouldn't have believed they would, but that's gonna hurt Charlotte. Like this is what I'm talking about with Charlotte. These games are gonna happen, bro. Like with Charlotte, these games are going to happen. Teams that they need to beat to get in the playoffs, they're going to lose to. And that's why they're going to get in.
Yo, Bridges gave us 15 and 10. Big up to him.
Yeah. But did he do anything defensively? Or was it empty calories?
Let's see. He did something.
One block, one skill. Okay.
Brooklyn finally won a game. Yeah, they won a game.
Only by 10, though. Again, they're going to finish third. And then you look at Atlanta.
Kyrie's a man on a mission.
He is, but I mean, okay, I'm sorry. After you say we're an average team, you better show up. I'm sorry. If you say you're like, you better show up. Like he made that comment out loud. And then this Atlanta game, you know, like, and we can stop here.
John Collins, 33 points. Yeah, let's get it.
You got him on your fantasy, yeah?
You guys don't know who their best players are. Why does Herder have 23 points?
Because Gallo's out, or Gallo's back actually, but because Bogey's out, so they had to put him in there because DeAndre Hunter's out. DeAndre Hunter, I think, will end up being the second best player on the Atlanta Hawks. I think Collins is gone this offseason.
Man got a triple-double. After round and got a triple-double, you know.
Yo, one day I just got to put a little 5 or 10 piece on Luka getting a triple-double. It pays out huge if it ever happens.
Okay. Raptors.
Yeah, we handled our biz. But yeah, man, I think those are some big results.
We got Clippers destroying the Timberwolves.
There's the Timberwolves. Cat's back, though. Good for Cat. Like, I feel bad. That guy's gone through a lot of adversity. Good to have him back.
Third quarter, tight game. Oh, my days.
It's done. I told you. The Cleveland Cavaliers have crashed right back down to earth. They're not that good.
Oh, my days. This is just bad. OKC LA game just started, and OKC has a little bit of a lead.
We'll see. Is LeBron playing?
NBA 9 points is nothing nowadays.
No, 9 points is
10 points. 10 points, I mean.
Nothing. You need 15 points if it's still before the half. That game's far from done.
Yo,
Phoenix is a cool team this year. Chris Paul's got to get way more respect.
Kamitsky kind of reminds me of Olynyk. They're both big men that can shoot, that are white.
Yeah, man.
They kind of remind me of each other.
Except Olynyk's better. And he's
Olynyk
Canadian.
is way better, but Kamitsky can get hot a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, this has been
Word.
great. I'm definitely gonna have to clip that up and post it again because that was a good little segment talking about. I didn't hear that. I didn't think that was coming. The whole Kyle Lowry trade for Ben Simmons thing. If you guys want to go check that out again, and big up to everybody watching. I know it's late in the UK. It's almost 3:30, but I ain't start my new job yet. So once I start my new job, I'm definitely won't be doing these late videos anymore. But yeah, we're out of here, people. Have yourselves a great day, people. Peace.